Good morning, fellow Toastmasters.
Morning.
It's been, for me, it's been a really sad week. One of my mentors, and I'm sure for many of you guys, that passed away at a very young age, kind of what Eunice mentioned earlier. So I'm forever grateful for his leadership, work ethic, commitment, and passion. Thank you, Kobe Bryant. Fellow Toastmasters, do you have a plan B part-time on the side of what you're currently doing? If you don't have a plan B, why don't you do something about it? I started an online business on the side part time of what I'm currently doing. As some of you guys know, I own two mechanic shops, and I have no time because I'm busy. Who's busy? We're all busy, right? But on the time on the side, I find a way to start a new business. And basically, what it does is it deals with telecom and energy and essential services. Basically, getting paid on essential services. Basically, getting paid every time people jump online and shop for services. So now's the time to take advantage of these opportunities, online businesses. So let me tell you a little story. Some of you guys know I own a mechanic shop. When I started the business, the gentleman from the room said, Sergio, let me ask you something. You own a mechanic shop, right? Yes, of course I do, right? When people come into your shop, do they ask you to check, and they're going to go on the trip, right? Do they come and ask you to check the tires, fluids, right? They want to have a safe trip. But do they ever ask you to check their spare tire? And what's so true about it is that people come into my shop and I check everything they ask me to check, but I never check their spare tire. So he said, okay, Sergio, let's say you're going to go on a trip. Let's say you're going to go to Vegas. From here to Vegas is roughly about 250 miles. Would you ever take a trip without a spare tire? He got me thinking, right? So I said, of course not. I wouldn't dare because outside circumstances can pop your tire. Even if you have a brand new car, but if you don't have four tires, anything can happen. A nail, a rock, a pothole, anything can pop your tire, right? So he said, so if you wouldn't drive 250 miles without a spare tire, how could you live with 40, 50,000, $60,000 a year without a spare tire financial B plan on the side of what you're currently doing? I understand people have good jobs. I understand they're satisfied with their income, but the reality is, um, but the reality is, I understand people have good jobs and people are satisfied with their income, but the reality is there's no job security in America today. True or not true? Major corporations are closing their doors. Major corporations are doing layoffs, right? So major corporations that used to do very well financially 20, 40 years ago, they're not doing well right now because of the rules are changing, the markets are changing, the economies are changing, the rules in the world are changing. So would it have so a lot of these corporations that used to do very well financially, they're not doing well right now. And we all know people like that 5, 10 years ago that used to do very well, but they're not doing well financially now, right? So, so the reality is, we all know people like that. So it's kind of obvious if you think about it. If we all had a spare tire in the back of our cars, and we all know people like that, they're not doing well right now, right? So, so you might say, Sergio, so, but when the gentleman from the room started talking about this, I thought about it, and I have a couple of businesses, and I'm making money, and I'm paying my bills, I'm paying my mortgage, and I was fine, but I never thought if my tire popped, right? But now looking back, people that used to do very well 4 or 5 years ago, they're not doing well financially now. So ask yourself, if you keep doing what you're doing, then in the next 5, 10 years, will you achieve your goals? Here's the reality: nobody fails to plan in life. Nobody fails to fail in life. We just fail to put a plan B to succeed in life. And can we all agree that the 97%, 90% of Americans are failing financially right now? True or not true? So ask yourself. So ask yourself, if not these new opportunities that we can all take advantage of, what else can we do? Now, a lot of people might say, you know what, Sergio, I don't really care about money, right? People will not buy you happiness, and I kind of agree with you on that. I know a lot of people, a lot of broke people that are happy, but also not a lot of wealthy people are happy, right? So don't come and say that the happiness has to do with money, right? So so now's the time to start your own business, and ask yourself this: when is the best time to start your own business? With a few $100, you can start your online business, and you can make money all over the world. And when is the best time to make a decision? In my opinion, the best time to make a decision is now. And lastly, who deserves this opportunity more than you? Who deserves to have success more than you? And then I'll finish up with this. When I started the business, the guy in front of the room asked me, "Sergio, do you have a dream car?" I said, "I do." He said, "Are you driving it?" I said, I'm not driving it. If you're not driving it, someone else is." Then he said again, "Do you have a dream house?" I said, "I do have a dream house. Are you living in it?" I said, I'm not living in it." "Well, if you're not living in it, someone else is." And then he said, Who deserves to live in your dream house more than you?" I said, "Nobody, I do." Then he said, "Sergio, you don't live in North Korea. You live in America, the land of opportunities. Why don't you do something about it?" Thank you, guys.